police dog relentlessly barked at a traveler's luggage, drawing puzzled glances from passengers and security alike. But when the officers finally opened the bag, what they found sent shockwaves through the entire airport. What happened next will leave you stunned. Before we dive into the details, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, because tomorrow at the same time, we'll bring you another unforgettable story of heroism and sacrifice from the world's most extraordinary military K-9 teams. It was just another early morning at San Francisco International Airport. Officer Olivia Harris stood by the security checkpoint, adjusting her jacket as the cold air from outside seeped through the automatic doors. Her loyal partner, Max, a German shepherd she had worked with for 5 years, stood next to her, his alert eyes scanning the crowd with precision. Olivia's breath formed clouds in the frigid air as she glanced at the clock. 5:30 a.m. The terminal was quiet, save for the soft hum of the air conditioning and the distant sound of rolling suitcases. But something in the air felt different today, as though a storm was brewing. Max's posture remained perfect, but Olivia couldn't shake the feeling that the calm before the storm was only temporary. She scratched Max's ears, his deep brown eyes meeting hers, his unwavering trust in her filling the space between them. "Ready for another day, buddy?" she whispered, feeling the electric tension in the air. Max looked up at her, alert, and Olivia knew today was not going to be ordinary. Olivia's gaze shifted back to the crowd of early morning travelers filing into the terminal. Max, always vigilant, moved with precision beside her, his sharp senses scanning the area for anything out of the ordinary. But then, a subtle shift in his behavior caught her attention. His ears perked forward, and his nose twitched as he picked up a scent. Something unfamiliar, something out of place. Olivia's pulse quickened, her instincts kicking in. She knew that look, the way Max suddenly stiffened, his body language changing from relaxed to alert in an instant. There was no mistaking it. Something was wrong. Max's eyes locked onto a tall, well-dressed man near the premium check-in counter. He stood confidently, phone in hand, his expensive suitcase resting beside him. Olivia studied the man carefully, noting how his eyes flicked nervously from the luggage to the exits, his fingers tightening around his phone. She approached cautiously, positioning herself between the man and his bag. "Excuse me, sir," she said, her voice calm but firm. "I'm Officer Harris with the airport police. Would you mind stepping over here with your luggage for a routine check?" The man's expression remained neutral, but Olivia could see the flicker of uncertainty behind his eyes. "Is there a problem, officer?" he asked smoothly, his voice betraying a hint of tension. Max's low growl rumbled from his chest, a sound that instantly sent a ripple through the terminal. Olivia's hand instinctively moved to her holster. Something told her this was no ordinary security stop. Something dangerous was about to unfold. Max's growl deepened, the sound low and menacing, and Olivia's heart skipped a beat. She knew this growl. It wasn't just a typical warning. This was something more. The man, who had previously seemed so composed, was now visibly tense, his gaze darting around the terminal as if calculating his next move. Olivia's instincts were screaming that something wasn't right, but before she could make another move, the man's demeanor changed in an instant. Without warning, he hurled his phone at Olivia's face, the sleek device soaring through the air. She ducked, just barely avoiding the impact, as the phone clattered to the floor behind her. The man bolted, his leather shoes clicking sharply against the polished floor, weaving through the crowd with surprising speed. "Stop! Airport police!" Olivia shouted, but her voice was swallowed by the chaos. Passengers scattered, some pulling out their phones to record, others stepping aside as the scene unfolded. Max was already in motion, his large frame cutting through the crowd with unparalleled agility, his eyes locked on the suspect. "Suspect fleeing east, Terminal 3, Gate 7. Olivia radioed in, her voice steady despite the adrenaline pumping through her veins. She was hot on the trail, but she knew Max would catch up to him first. The man was fast, but Max was faster. Olivia could hear his paws pounding against the floor behind her, the steady rhythm of his movements reminding her that she wasn't alone in this. As they chased the man down the corridor, Olivia's mind raced. What was in that bag? Why had he reacted like that? Max's growl escalated again, louder and more urgent. The tension in the air was palpable. Whatever they were about to uncover, Olivia knew it would be far worse than a simple fugitive. They rounded a corner, and Olivia's breath caught in her throat as she saw the narrow maintenance corridor ahead. It was a dead end, no way out. The man was cornered. But just as she was about to close the distance, something else caught her attention. A faint click, followed by a soft hiss, like the release of a pressure valve. Olivia's blood ran cold. Max's growl had shifted into a frantic bark, and he was moving erratically, trying to push her away from the service door where the sound was coming from. Max knew something was wrong, something she couldn't yet see, but the urgency in his behavior was enough to make her hesitate. She pulled her gun from its holster, her fingers tightening around the grip. "Stay close, Max," she muttered under her breath, as they inched forward, eyes scanning every shadow. The man's voice rang out from the dark. "You should have let me go, Officer Harris. Now look what you've done." The sound of his footsteps echoed through the concrete corridor, but Olivia couldn't shake the feeling that he wasn't the real threat anymore. That pressure release sound was growing louder. Max whined, his body pressed against Olivia's, urging her back. She realized then, whatever was in that trunk, whatever had caused Max to react this way, was far worse than she had imagined. The seconds stretched into eternity. Olivia keyed her radio. "Control, we need a hazmat team and an EOD unit, now. There's a chemical threat, possible airborne." Her voice was steady, but inside, every alarm was ringing. This was no ordinary bust, it was a ticking time bomb. Olivia's mind raced as the reality of the situation hit her. The pressure release, the hiss, the growl in Max's chest. Everything was pointing to one thing. The trunk contained something far more dangerous than a simple smuggling operation. Her instincts told her this wasn't just about drugs or explosives. It was something worse, something biological. The man, Chen, had been acting like he was trying to hide a secret far bigger than a few kilos of contraband. Olivia's thoughts flashed back to the case in Seattle. She hadn't thought about it in months, but now the connection was undeniable. That's where this had started. Officer Karen Reeves had called for Atlas specifically because of his unique abilities, his heightened olfactory senses. Max had detected the same kind of reaction back then. That case had been shut down fast, but Emma had always wondered why. Now she knew. What they'd uncovered in Seattle was part of something much larger, something involving dangerous, life-altering experiments. And now this man, Chen, was part of it too. "Where's the hazmat team?" Olivia muttered, her voice tight as she kept her focus on the growing danger. Max's low growl was constant now, a steady rumble that vibrated through the floor beneath her. She could feel the weight of the situation pressing down on her chest. Every second mattered. Suddenly, the silence was broken by Chen's voice, cold and mocking. "You're too late, officer. The countdown started the moment I triggered the failsafe." A sickening chill washed over Olivia as the realization hit her like a punch to the gut. This wasn't just a drug deal gone wrong. This was a carefully orchestrated plot to unleash something far worse, something that could change everything. And it was all coming to a head right now. The air felt thick with tension as Olivia pressed her back against the cold concrete wall, Max at her side, his stance unwavering. The countdown from the trunk's timer was growing louder, its relentless ticking pounding in her ears. She could hear Chen's voice echoing from the shadows, taunting her. "You don't know what you're up against, officer. The world's about to change, and you're too late to stop it." His words were cold, deliberate, and Olivia could feel her pulse racing, every second slipping away as the ticking of the device became deafening. Olivia's hand instinctively gripped her gun tighter, her knuckles white from the pressure. Max's eyes flicked toward her, his sharp instincts telling him to stay alert. She had only one shot at this. The hazmat team was on their way, but they might not make it in time. The room seemed to shrink around her, the weight of the situation pressing down like a physical force. Whatever was in that trunk, whatever Chen had been working on, was far beyond anything Olivia had encountered in her career. Max's low growl rumbled again, but this time it was different. It was more urgent, more primal. The shepherd knew they were running out of time. "Max, guard!" Olivia commanded, her voice firm despite the rising panic. Without hesitation, Max launched himself at Chen, knocking the man off balance just as his hand reached for the control panel. The moment was perfect. Olivia moved in, tackling Chen to the ground, her heart pounding in her chest as she struggled to secure him. This wasn't just about stopping a criminal. It was about stopping a catastrophe. Olivia's breath was coming in short, ragged gasps as she struggled to keep her grip on Chen, his body writhing beneath her, trying to break free. Max stood guard, his body tense and alert, eyes locked on their target. The countdown continued to tick in the background, relentless and cold, each second feeling like an eternity. Chen snarled, his composure cracking as he realized just how much control he had lost. "You have no idea what you're stopping," he spat, his words sharp and venomous. But Olivia wasn't listening anymore. She couldn't afford to. Her mind was consumed with one thought, the trunk. Whatever was inside, it had to be contained before it was too late. Max's low growl intensified as he stood in position, watching the other officers approach to secure the scene. Olivia felt the weight of responsibility heavy on her shoulders. She had no idea what kind of weapon Chen was trying to unleash, but whatever it was, she knew it was far beyond her. This wasn't just about protecting the airport anymore. It was about preventing something catastrophic from unfolding. Within moments, the hazmat team flooded the corridor, their presence a surge of much-needed hope. Olivia quickly relayed the details, her voice steady despite the chaos. "Contain the trunk. We need a full chemical response. This could be worse than we thought." The team moved swiftly, their sensors scanning the trunk, confirming what Olivia had already feared. As Chen was cuffed and hauled away, Olivia exhaled a breath she didn't realize she had been holding. But this wasn't over, not by a long shot. What had just happened was only the beginning. The story of the relationship between Olivia and Max, a police officer and a K-9 partner, conveys an important lesson about trust and teamwork. In life, we often face challenges that are unpredictable and overwhelming. However, with strong bonds and mutual trust, we can overcome any obstacle. The partnership between Olivia and Max reminds us that, even in the face of danger or difficulty, cooperation and perseverance can help us achieve great things. Always trust in your own abilities and the people who stand by your side,